it's a very simple and not yet question. I think it comes all to the understanding of why you do what you do. And if, let's say, we take a clinic, and it's any sort of odontology clinic or health clinic, if you're aiming to expand and grow in the amount of your patients, in geographies and whatnot, then it's driven by ego, because we got numbers behind, right? So we are not looking at lives as such. We are not looking at extending health span, as such. We're looking basically at the numbers. And that's, how I see it outside in. And of course, every individual, we still have to have that, answer, like why I am doing it for me, because that's really important for surviving and other things. But nevertheless, I think like how to go from that, because we've been like blueprinted very much in our economy and society that that's the pinnacle of everything, right? To grow, it means that you are alive, that you are you have ambitions and etc. But it's there is another type of growth, as I say, and I would rather call it unfolding your biggest audacious impact, purpose, vision, but like really thinking, if this is my company, this is my product, what biggest problems I can solve in a society, in the world, for now and in the future, with my, intelligence, knowledge, and with the team and whatnot. So kind of going beyond I and looking at we as the collective humanity. That would mean to me even more growth, because ego-driven growth, when you think about square meters or any type of numbers, it can be facility management company, they think about square meters, how many more buildings we should take or whatever. And it narrows your mindset. You are not that creative anymore, and it actually narrows even your sales, I think, because who wants to work with a company or be a client of a company where you are only a number? But when you actually walk out, to the market and say, hey, I am here to prolong the health. I am here to make sure that any root causes why your teeth or oral, mouth health is not good. I really want to, make sure that it doesn't happen. I'm not here for the transaction. I'm here for longevity and other things. People buy into that vision, into that purpose, and it's far more easier to sell, and it's far more easier to get even, more better paid clients and etc. So ego growth is kind of, thinking about I and numbers, and a different type of growth beyond that. It's thinking about we and the bigger, bolder problems in humanity.
I've been in the center of both of those. I remember when I started my coaching journey, I didn't have to worry about money because I was fully employed and I was doing it as a side hustle. So I had my full-time income taking care of food, shelter, water. I had all those needs met. I had a secure career. I had a safe circle of friends, and I'm on my way to self-actualization. I'm climbing Maslow's pyramid, and I'm doing coaching as a side hustle. But once I left my career, I then realized now I've got to make money. And it was a challenge because before I was doing it because it was fun and I loved it. But now I've got to do it for the money. And my mum said to me one day, she said, Daniel, off to work you go, have fun, make money. And I looked at her and she said, are you okay? And I said, yeah. And she said, are you having fun? And I said, no. She said, are you making money? And I said, yeah. And she said, maybe you've got your values around the wrong way, because it had become about the money and there was no fun. And I've been in the middle of that. And I do agree that when we focus on the dollars, then the sales, we're pushing for sales rather than that particular impact.
Magic disappears.
I learned from my mentor, Dr. Tad James. He said, Daniel, the greatest day of your life as a coach is when your client says, goodbye, I've got it from here. And what you're doing is you're not creating codependence, you're creating independence. Now, Dr. Richard Bandler, one of my other mentors, he also said that coaching is in a very expensive business and it's a bad business model because every time you solve the client's problem, you lose a customer. And that's very different to a typical healthcare model where if you heal somebody, you lose a customer. So what do? You keep them sick because that's a better
Indeed.
business model, an ego-driven business model.
And it's a vicious cycle, right? And it absolutely creates a vicious cycle. But I love your story. It's just so human for all of us to fall into that.
Well, I think for the people helpers, I always wanted to be a doctor. And I had this vision of me helping people, but I couldn't see myself giving them injections or pills. And then I was diagnosed with learning disabilities and I had a lot of help, went to remedial therapy. And then I thought maybe I could be a doctor. But when I wanted to go to school and university, it was difficult for me. So I couldn't learn the way other people learn. I couldn't get into university because I never completed school. But I still wanted to be able to help people. And I've met a lot of other people on the journey. They're very good at helping, but when it comes to their commercial acumen, they're not as skilled. And the thought of having to sell to help somebody also becomes a conflict for them. You know, why do I have to put this selling thing first? Why does that have to be the most important thing? Can't I just help them? So as people shift to this new mindset and they grow these holistic empires, what are the elements that have to be in place to have a holistic empire?
Many, I believe it's around 12. But the first one, it's the really proper deep inner work. As we just spoke before the podcast, it is the ability to detach yourself fully from your past identity and feel actually comfort in being no one, nobody, and start from that. And that takes a lot of inner deep work. And only those who are very aware of that, they can move towards the holistic empire, what we will talk about what it is. So that's kind of the first element. The second element is when you understand that you are kind of the creator who decided to, let's say, be the CEO of certain company or create your own business. That would mean that you are very open as the ecosystem. You are not closed as this legal entity where you are only like literally focusing on your team and on, the silos and who does what, marketing, sales, production. You are actually opening the doors for your clients and suppliers to work together. Now, what does it mean and how does that manifest in the daily life? It is that any type of strategy sessions you're gonna have, do not have that only with your team and yourself, because that's your last identity. That's what you've been doing for, 20 plus years, and that's how we've been blueprinted in the books, that this is my safe little kitchen. I, take my people in, and then we create more or less the same growth strategies as we always done. Numbers are just different. So what we want to do it is, we say, let's invite suppliers, let's invite clients, let's invite anyone else who can give us the diversity and as well help us to go deeper and wider in understanding what is exactly the impact we can create with that energy of knowing that we are nobody in no time. And I'm not in kind of, attached to the title that I'm the CEO, that I have to have all the answers to all the questions and these type of things. And this is where what I call magic happens. Because when you tap into your biggest audacious impact, all of your fears are gone. I know it for myself because English is my, fourth language. And when I did that, or before kind of tapping into the impact, I always had these fears, if I'm gonna begin to talk about these crazy holistic business practices where we can invite clients and suppliers in strategic sessions, no one will, understand me. Everyone will kind of think that Laura is crazy and will not give me any orders. But kind of, step by step, when you tap into that impact and understand the audacity of that and what positive effect it gives, you lose all of these fears because you know that your impact is bigger than anything what you feel inside of your small you, as I say. So that's kind of element number 2. It is trying to understand what are the business practices you already did with your team, and just be more open and more brave to tweak them a bit. It's very easy. So that's kind of number 2. And number 3, it's definitely getting rid of work charts. That's how I see. And I love ripping them off always. And I don't have one now in front of me, but normally it's top down, right? So who is at the top? And is that who at the top, the man or the woman to whom we have to deliver value? No. The one who, or those who need our value, they sit all around because it's interdependent ecosystem. We are not alone in this. We're delivering value for our clients. Clients are delivering value for their clients, for their families. It's just the entire network of people and the planet Earth itself. So why should we, when we know that the value is not created based on those top-down linear structures, why on earth we keep showing those to our teams? Because this is the moment where we again lose that brave identity of creator, and we tap into this fear-driven control kind of mode that is not healthy at all. So get rid of org chart, but there is always the moment where your mind will say, okay, so how I'm gonna now control the entire thing, and people have to have clarity. Yes, they do, but right now, today, with all the possibilities to visualize how your value is flowing or how your impact is unfolding, where you can actually weave the profit in every, as I say, in every step of your ecosystem, you can actually weave the mindset of both impact, profit, and meaning, and create shared responsibilities for those nested teams and the discipline. Because the visualization, it's really important, because we can't just delete all the organizational chart files and leave people with a void. Not many people can be comfortable in seeing nothingness, so they still have to have the visual understanding. Where is my role, not the function anymore, but where is my role in creating or unfolding that impact? And suddenly I see myself as if I'm the sales manager or sales person, that I'm both in the marketing, I'm in the client support, I'm in the product development, I am in sales. I am a bit, all over, because certain decisions, the ones I make with clients, it's impacting the whole system. So they have to have that visual part, and discipline would mean, when I say that, it's simply visual meetings that those nested teams or shared responsibility teams, or the entire leadership team, it depends on the size of the business, they're having that on a daily basis. It's actually every day for 20, 30, maybe 15 minutes. They're gathering together online or physically, depending on how they work. And they look at the visual dashboard, but the one which is not designed by org chart, with the silos where HR comes in, marketing comes in, sales comes in, and we report to you if you would be our, CEO Daniel. And I would say, I'm doing fine. My KPIs are green, guys. I don't care about the rest. And then, because it's structured top down, and we sometimes don't even understand how at the end of the day our old identities mirroring everything in our processes and management and leadership. So we want to break down from that pattern, and in our discipline of the visual meetings, create the visualization where they see that ecosystem as all interdependent parts. And if we spoke that in the strategic sessions, we have clients and suppliers. If we got vendors, if we got clients with whom we are very closely related, and we do, can we speak with them and can we have that discipline together? At least what I know, all of your vendors, they will say thank you, because they will be far more closer to us. They would understand our problems, issues, awareness raising. They could be able to tap into any type decisions faster without us kind of creating some kind of wrong, let's say, or not timely decisions. So there are many different aspects to how that can be done. But in today, I probably will highlight those three elements of the holistic business empire. It starts within you, and you have to be comfortable to lose yourself. And to create yourself every time, and at the same time become open for your ecosystem and invite clients and suppliers in your kitchen. Be vulnerable, open that up. There are messes all around the place. You're not the only one who doesn't have everything, who has everything smoothly planned and all the processes flowing. No, every business has a lot of waste, a lot of non-value, a lot of chaos. That's a part of life. And then thirdly, delete or kind of embed that into your discipline of the meetings. So people, when they're accountable not for you, they're accountable for the impact, the one that doesn't have a voice and can't speak, but it's our job to speak and act upon that. So that would be those three elements of that holistic business empire.
I talk about 3 I's, and I can see how they align with the holistic model here. The first thing I talk about is influence, and we have to be able to catapult our influence. Secondly, we've got to accelerate our impact. And thirdly, then we can increase our income levels. But the first two, the influence and the impact, you have to work really hard for. And the third one, if you've done a good job, if you've made a significant contribution, the third one you get automatically. So if you're doing a good job and you're taking care of people, then the money should follow. And that was how I was raised. Daniel, if you work hard, you do a good job. If you have a significant contribution, you don't have to worry about the money. The money's going to follow. So I'm in alignment with that: influence, impact, and income. And what I talk to my students about is 3 L's. I believe you've got to live life on your terms. And I can see here with this holistic model, you've got to start to do things differently. You've got to say, I don't want to play that old game. I want to write the rules and do it my way. So you've got to live life on your terms. Secondly, you've got to lead your people to a victory. And in terms of leadership, I don't necessarily believe in a structured leadership. I believe in situational leadership. And what that means is that the person with the most skill in that area or the most knowledge should be leading at any given time. Like a game of football, you've got forwards, you've got back rowers, and you've got wingers, and everybody has an opportunity to get the ball and to make a play. And people will step forward at the right time if you allow for situational leadership. But if there's no situational leadership and there's the only hierarchy, it's very quick to pass the buck. That's not my job. You do that.
Mm-hmm.
So we believe that you've got to lead people to a victory. And then thirdly is through that, then you can leave your legacy. And I believe that most people at the moment, they work about 2,000 hours a year. And through their work, they can leave a legacy. And people aren't going to remember how much money you had in the bank. They're going to remember that relationship you had. They're going to remember how you transformed their life. They're going to remember that solution you gave them. And I believe that you can do that with business. So I can see there's some synergies there between the holistic empire and what we do. And even at lunchtime today, my wife and I were talking about vibration. We're talking about wavelength. And we only want customers who are on the same wavelength as us. If we're on the same wavelength, we can work together. But if we're not, no hard feelings, this is just not a good fit for either of us. And I think we should all get to that stage where we're confident enough to say, hey, we can work together, or we can't. And either way, we're going to be friends.
Yeah, because
I
we're
think we can do that.
humans, and being vulnerable and loving at the same time, that's as well what is connecting us, right? And now as you speak, I think the fourth element which I could add to that holistic business empire, it is when we're having these meetings or the discipline with a different visualization, it's again very easy to fall into the content, even though it's weaved and it's reflecting our purpose and profit. So asking yourself a question, where do we lie to ourselves today? That's a very profound question, what I found in observing and facilitating a lot of these meetings. Because that creates silence. It creates, as you say, that bravery to say no. And it can be certain clients, it can be certain activities that we still planned from the fear of this, ego-driven growth. And asking that question, it kind of it connects us somehow, at that deeper level, and then we understand that fine, we are humans. We kind of maybe again fall into this old model on an identity, but it helps us to raise our consciousness levels and probably delete a lot of actions.
You mentioned love, and I think traditionally people hear the word love and they're going to have their own interpretation. But in terms of an emotion, there's only one real emotion on the planet, which is love. And everything is a derivative of that. All fears are an illusion of love. Anger is an illusion of love. So we have to learn to love ourselves first and foremost. And I believe that comes with a lot of emotional intelligence. We have to understand how we think, feel and act, and understand that that's perfect. And we're going to spend more time utilising our strengths and less time worrying about our limitations. And if we do that, then we can start to build a team of people around us. And the leader should say, these are my strengths, this is what I do well, and I need a partner over here who's strong in this area. And you start to build a team with complementary strengths. But that takes both social awareness and self-awareness, which a lot of people are lacking. And as we said before, a lot of people who have been working in corporate for 15 or 20 years and they leave, you ask them the question, what are you taking away from 20 years of corporate? And the answer I hear all the time is bad health and a lack of self-awareness. I don't know who I am anymore. So they've got to be able to get an awareness. For this to work, a CEO is going to have to be comfortable speaking about their limitations, and they're going to have to start to delegate a lot more work to talent. So how does a CEO become comfortable doing that?
I love that question, Daniel. When I can speak from myself, how it would help me, because I'm very dominant, very control freak, and love perfection. And that's ingrained in my body. I had companies before. I'm in the business consulting for 12 years. When I know that we've got with the team the discipline I spoke about, that is the core for my dominant Laura, for the control freak Laura, because I know that every day we're gonna meet and we will look at the visual ecosystem, how we create value, where we are at. So I know that it's kind of holding us together my control freak Laura knows that, if we are not going to miss out on certain elements. And I think it's really important to understand your, the signals where you can lose yourself. To me, I can lose myself when I see that my team doesn't, understand anything, and what we agreed, they are not executing. So for how long I can kind of delegate with closed eyes. So I think it's very important to have the discipline for, before you jump into any kind of delegation without traceability of our collective agreements. And secondly, it is ask different type of questions. Do not ask how, ask who, ask why. How is that leading towards our impact? But more or less ask who, meaning who is gonna do that. They will figure that out. It's not a linear journey, and nothing is linear. But knowing that I, as a control, freaking Laura, as a CEO, have the discipline to meet with my team, knowing that I'm asking who, I know that they will write down the names. I know that, that question is sparking them to really think hands-on. Okay, who can do what, when? Because it's very, very often when we as CEOs, we begin to tap into the how. This is actually where we are unconsciously producing the belief in the people's mind that Laura knows better. She's asking the question how. Do you see that? So I think it's more important to say, okay, who can do, guys, figure out who can do what, and can we do that now in that meeting, in that 30-minute meeting. So that's how I would run if I'm, speaking from myself. But at the same time, the third element which is a counterintuitive. A lot of books I know, they speak about hands-off CEO. I mean, bullshit. Sorry, I truly do not believe in that. If you're the business owner, that's your baby. You've been working like thousands of hours to bring that up. Hands off. It just produces a lot of gap and disconnection. Be hands-on. I'm not speaking about micromanaging, but hands-on meaning that go out to the clients, speak, watch and observe how your people are fulfilling certain certain elements of project. Be involved into these projects. Ask them to involve, because you can be as well one of those who's behind certain tasks. So that's probably these three elements. That is making sure that there is the discipline, which is not based on silos, but I, as the CEO, have done everything to show visually for my team how we work as a whole, and then definitely asking the question who rather than how, and then be hands-on.